this Bannon thing with Lenin does actually bother me. I'm a democratic socialist. I read Lenin, but I'm not. I don't hold it as gospel. But I do think that the reading that like Norquist and like Bannon have of Lenin is essentially your like grade school history book reading, which is this guy just launched, like, was a really savvy, smart guy who launched a coup against the wishes of the people and, managed to change the whole world as a result. So I think that's kind of the professional revolutionary kind of like caricature of what Lenin was actually doing is the Lenin that they embrace. But it is telling that like these are actually kind of for the first time in a long time foes worthy of, of us on the U.S. left, like, those of us who are trying to like push forward, in my case, kind of an alternative socialist worldview and whatnot. It's like we've been fighting.
And in my case, like a Stalinist one. I mean, I completely agree.
I mean, Stalinist is kind of soft. I consider you more of a Pol Potist.
No, I mean, well, I wanted to sort of, we're going to roll out the glasses thing. Like I'm going to fast track Sam, obviously, but that's personal. The Pol Pot thing is a little bit, that's sort of phase two. But actually, we're going to get to the DNC race because that will, I think, that will elucidate some of the stuff. But really briefly, a lot of people in our audience will know, that this is like a grade school sophomoric reading of Lenin. But can you give like the brief sort of like Lenin for non-morons read and explain why it's a childish version in a
I would say, put it this way. And man, I did not know the Majority Report was going to have me talking about Lenin, but
you never know, man. I'll have you talking about Carnival next time.
All of European social democracies was reading from the same playbook from the 1890s onward. So everyone wanted to build something like the German Social Democratic Party, which at that point was the largest organ trying to organize the workers' movement in Germany. They were pushing for democratic rights. They were pushing for more and more reforms. They thought they'd be running Germany as soon as the Kaiser, as soon as the monarchy kind of collapsed. And then obviously everything got derailed with 1914. What Lenin was in many ways trying to do was replicate the model of German social democracy, but in conditions of Russian illegality. When you're dealing with the Tsar, when you're dealing with, thousands of people being thrown in prison or, hundreds of people being killed or put into exile and so on. So that meant, in other words, that they had to have kind of a hard layer of people that were like full-time activists. And that's kind of been mistranslated into this idea of a professional vanguard party and so on.
Almost like they become like early adapters or something like that in our kind of late stage capitalist understanding. Yeah.
Right. But it was basically just German social democracy in Russian conditions. Then obviously after they took power, the country was a mess. And, we could debate when it went wrong. I think it went wrong real fast.
Yes.
But until that point, like their goal wasn't to kind of be hardened professional revolutionaries and launch a coup. Their goal was to try to organize workers, but it was really difficult to do so in conditions when that organizing was illegal. But so there's kind of this idea of, Leninism as this, kind of conspiratorial, you get 10 people when you, kind of change the world kind of thing. And to some degree, the right also has been doing this with Antonio Gramsci. The Christian right in the 80s and 90s love kind of quoting this like Wikipedia reading of him saying, we're winning the battle for cultural, hegemony and that kind of shit. It just makes him seem much, much sharper. But, in fact, I think that they really, don't have a fleshed out kind of view of this. I would say though that like in a certain way, my favorite novelists, a lot of them are like kind of Burkeans, a lot of them are just kind of reactionaries like V.S. Naipaul, and that's only partially the Trinidadian nationalism coming out.
That is there you go.
In many ways, what I do, admire about Bannon is that he's someone with a worldview. He's someone like who has a sense of what he wants to do. I don't think I agree with you that he's not a genius when it comes to the day-to-day kind of tactical stuff and whatever. He's savvy, but not a genius, like you said.
Yeah.
But he does have this overarching worldview, which I don't think the kind of Mitt Romneys of the world did. Like Mitt Romney just wanted to get rich and to help his friends get rich.
Yeah, and I
like
don't. Yeah, he didn't have, and he did. It's just a really boring one. I mean, that it's a worldview that's like a hybrid of like Mormonism and a Boston Consulting Group, forecast for Chinese imports. I mean that's it. Like there's some hybrid of kind of like personal temperance through religion, and then capitalism's awesome. I mean that's it. I mean you're
Yep.
right.
Hey, it's Sam Seder. Why don't you subscribe to this channel? You can do so right over here. Over. Subscribe.